Welcome to Trybe Talks, the podcast for parents who are trying to do it all and stay sane in the process. I'm Princess Nyah, your host and founder of Trybe, your personal parenting assistant. Each week we dive into real conversations, parent hacks, and stories that remind you ain't doing this alone. Now let's get into it. Hey everyone, and welcome to Trybe Talks. It's your girl Nyah, aka Princess Nyah, and right now we are on one of the last episodes of the season, and today you're coming with me on the school run because life has been so busy. I haven't had time to get to the podcast studio to record the last episode of the season. So yeah, stay tuned and here we go. So what an amazing year it has been. I have interviewed some amazing guests this year and I've had so much insight on just how other people are parenting, juggling their houses and their children and their careers and their dreams and their aspirations all at the same time. And one of the most common themes for me is that there is no real life balance. There's no balance when it comes to being a parent and having a career or a job at the same time. It's just literally throwing everything in the air, spinning all the plates and hoping that they don't crash because you are juggling. So that while something is in the air, something are in your hands, there's always something on the go, which means there's very little time to just chill off. There's very, very little time. And the more and more people that I speak to, the more I am enthused and excited about the possibilities of what Trybe is going to be able to do to support parents all over the world. Now, my experience as a mum is obviously different to an experience of maybe perhaps a dad, and all of our experiences are completely different. But what shapes us all is seeing how well our children do. When the children are thriving, you just feel like you're doing a good job. And that often comes in different ways for many people. Seeing, there's a meme, I'm going to try and find it and put it in the video, but there's a meme where you see this really distinguished little boy and he looks really, really proud. And then, I think he's got a coffee in his hand or a tea or something. And the caption is like, every mum on Christmas Day, once the kids have opened all their presents and got everything that they wanted. And it's so real. That picture is so real because there's nothing beats looking at your child and seeing how grateful they are and excited to receive everything and more that they ever wanted. And I think that is how I want parents to feel. Like, I want parents to feel accomplished in knowing that they've been given the support and everything that they need for them to thrive, at the same time as them pumping everything into their children to make sure that they can thrive as well. And it sounds kind of crazy, but the reality is, like, so it's one of my best friends, it's her son's birthday today. And I do this to all of my friends that have children. I've sent him a happy birthday message. And then I've sent her a message and I've said, babes, happy giving birthday. Because however many years ago, I think her son's 7, however many years ago, you brought life into this world. And in that moment after you've given birth, everything about what you've done up until that point kind of just vanishes, and the focus just becomes the baby. The focus becomes the toddler. The focus becomes the infant. The focus becomes the junior, and everything is like just lobbied towards them and how and what you do, because you know that's going to impact them as a parent. It's crazy, and no one stops and says, do you know what though, mum? Thanks, mum, because you actually gave birth that day. You sacrificed you and yourself, and you brought life into this world. And I think that is something that really it is not really spoken about anymore. You give birth and then you just kind of move on. And I don't know if that's just me, because I'm a Leo and I love to receive gifts and I love to be told how amazing I'm doing, which is why I inflict that onto others. But I think that it's just really, really, really important. One of the things this year that I've learned, and I've learned so many things this year, like there's just so many different things. But one of the things I learned this year is that if you are not catered to in a way that helps you thrive, then everything around you suffers. And you can try your best to pretend like not looking after yourself is not going to It's not going to impact you, but it really, really does. It really, really impacts you. And I had to make a lot of hard choices this year. And I think that when you are a serial entrepreneur and you love creating and you love business and you love everything that is fashion and music and being on the stage and just being in like show business, it's like, it is extremely taxing. It's extremely taxing. And until you have traveled through it, you don't realize that it's really, really tough to keep everything going all at the same time. I remember in my 20s, I was asked a lot, like throughout my music and one of my first businesses, I used to do quite a lot of speaking at colleges and stuff. And a lot of people used to be like, the questions were like, how is it being a woman in the music industry? And what is your advice when someone wants to do more than one thing? And I always used to be like, well, yeah, like there's 24 hours in a day. Of course you can do more than one thing. I'm never just going to be doing one thing. I'm always going to be doing a several of things. And then being a woman in the industry, the conversation pretty much goes like, no, I don't really notice no difference. Like, it's just music. Music is music. And fast forward like 20 years, I can honestly say that my perceptions have changed and I've shifted. I no longer think that women have the same opportunities as men, and there is a massive difference between the way the women are treated across every industry. There's a massive difference. And then when you add mothers on top of that, I feel like there is an unsaid thing that mums are just unreliable, because the fact of the matter is, if something happens to my daughter at school, she needs me, I'm dropping everything. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm actually dropping everything. So I kind of get it, but it is something that looks like an X against our name, and it's not looked at like a positive. It's like always looked at like, the mums are just unreliable. So my opinion on women in business and music has definitely developed, and I think there is a massive disadvantage when you are a woman if you don't understand that it's not a level playing field. I think that there's not a disadvantage if you understand it, because you can kind of get yourself into a place of figuring out where you stand and being smarter. So I think that's just a disadvantage if you don't know. The other one is the juggle. They're doing all the things at once. While I was a recording artist, I had my own printing business and I had a fashion line at the same time. So I was basically running a fashion company, which was called Bingy's Boutique. And then I had a printing service called TDS London, where I printed for everybody. Loads of t-shirts, printing hoodies, you name it, I was printing it. And I was doing music at exactly the same time. And at the time that I'm doing it all, I'm not really thinking anything of it. Like, I'm just like, yeah, it just is what it is. But I think that now, understanding what 24 hours looks like as a woman and a family woman, a mother, I think that I've adapted my way. And I think now when I meet people, like I met this fantastic young girl, her name's Nubia. She is absolutely amazing. She is in tech. She is a musician. She sings, she raps. Like, I'm sure she even makes beats. She's amazing on social media. She's doing all of the things. And I look at her and she's telling me everything that she's doing. And she reminds me of myself when I was younger, because I was just outside doing it all. And I look at her and I think, if you could home all of that into one area, things are going to gravitate and become for you so much quicker than you could ever imagine. But explaining that to her, there's no way to explain to somebody once they've got their mind made up of what they're doing. They have to travel through their own version themselves. They have to get through A, B, C, D, E, all the way to S to understand that, okay, cool, maybe something needs to give here. Sometimes you have to suffer the burnout. You have to be hurt. You have to cry. You have to be in the depths of despair to really rise like the phoenix that you want to be. And sometimes someone just telling you and showing you and saying, this is a better way, it's not enough. You have to physically, understand it yourself. Because so many people told me back in the day, yeah, you're doing a lot of different things and it will be better for you if you concentrated on one specific area. And I think that telling somebody that is one thing, but showing them how to do it, I think is definitely different. So yeah, this year I decided that the music is going to be on an indefinite pause for me. I love music. I love performing. But I had to look at my 24 hours, my 365 days, and look at how much time I'm putting into each thing and what is the walk that I really, really, really want to walk, and where is it that I really, really want to be. And I met with an investor and she asked me a question and she said, what does your life look like for Nyah in 5 years' time? What does that look like? And she said it like that. And I don't think I'd really concentrated on Nyah's version of life, always looking at where I'd like my music to be, where I want my company to be. But I'd never actually thought, okay, where does Nyah want to be?
Excuse me. Hi, everyone.
Kizzy, we're recording.
So, hi, podcast people. I just had to tell you, I have a free course for kids like me. It's called Money Jazz. And it's so cool because it teaches us how to save, spend, and even invest. I'm basically a mini millionaire in training right now.
Kizzy?
Parents, you can get for free. Yep, free. Just click the link in the description. Thank you so much for listening to my very important announcement. Okay, Mum, you can finally have your podcast back now.
Thanks, Kizzy. Right, where were we? How does Nyah want to fly in 5 years' time? Do I want to fly business class? Do I want to fly first class? Do I want to fly on a private jet? How do I want to travel? What shoes does Nyah want to wear? Where does Nyah go to the gym? Who is she lunching with? Where is she having dinners? Where is she vacating with her daughter? Is she traveling with her daughter? Is she backpacking? Is she living in the UK? Is she not living in the UK? All of these questions hit me all at the same time. And as I left the ladies' office where we met up, I thought to myself, wow, I used to have a vision of what I wanted my life to look like. I had a whole vision board and there were lots of different things on there: getting married, having a baby, looking fit and fierce, being healthy, making 100 grand a month. There were so many different things on this vision, but I knew what I wanted my life to look like. And now I've grown and I've ticked things off the list. I'm walking the walk. And it's time to really focus on the vision of myself that I want in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time. What does it look like? What does she look like? And how do I walk towards her and not hold her back? And I think that really shaped my decision as to where I'm going to put my energy and my time in for 2026. I had dinner with some friends. Well, actually, I had dinner with one of my friends and it was with her friends. And one of her friends was saying, I'm going to be doing a vision board. She does one every single year. And I said, oh, yeah, I don't really do one every year. I've done one for like the next 5 years, 10 years, but I haven't done one in a while and I'm going to do one. And she said how she starts her vision boards is she'll pick a word and work around that word. And when she said that, it's like, oh, I like that. Because, you know, vision boards they're just done, innit? They're rinsed. Let's be honest. It's a vision board party every other week. But when she said the word thing, it triggered me into thinking, yeah, what would my word be? And straight away, the word victorious came to my head. And I thought my word for 2026 and my vision board for the next 5 years is going to be victorious. Because every single thing that I do, everything I show up for, everything I put my name to, every bit of money, every bit of investment, every bit of labor, every bit of time, I want to make sure that everything I'm doing is going to be victorious. And the only way to be victorious in my journey of learning is to cut out all the noise and apply myself in such a way that I'm able to know, hands down, that no matter the outcome, I've given my absolute all. I used to work at Foot Locker many, many moons ago. Retail is the shout, by the way. If you've never worked in retail, and if you're listening to this and you're young enough to work in retail for a little while is really, like, I learned so much working in retail. But when I was working in retail, my manager at the time, his name was David Brown, shouts out David Brown. He I wanted to do everything. So I think I was doing part-time sales, and then I was like 3.5 days a week. And then I wanted to be assistant manager, and I'd done visual merchandising. And one day I wanted to do the recruitment. I'd worked in every single department in Foot Locker you could imagine. The only department I never really got to work in officially, but I was still doing it, is training and development, because I loved training, doing staff training days. Anyway, David Brown one day said, I said I was interested in recruitment. I want to learn how to recruit staff. And he took me out on the field to do a recruitment day. And I remember sitting in his office, and he said, you know what, Nyah? Because I was going on and on and on and on about it. Please, 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 I want to recruit, I want to do recruitment. And he said, you are like a dog with a bone. Once you get your teeth into something and your hands on it, there's no point trying to take it away from you. We have to let it run its course. And I remember laughing when he said it. But as an adult, and this is like 20 years ago now, learning and listening to how people perceived you, I totally get what he meant. I am like a dog with a bone. And this goes back to me talking about Nubia and the way that she's doing so many different things at once. Once your brain is fixed on doing something in a certain way, there's no amount of talking that is going to push you into altering the way that you want to do things. And for the first time, having this conversation with this investor, it pushed me into understanding that my decisions today are going to affect the outcome of me in 5 years' time. So I can be like a dog with a bone and relentlessly in my own way, or I can take a step back and really focus on listening to the voice inside my head, like the little voice inside my body, my soul, the little Nyah inside that knows exactly what the next step is that I should be doing, and figure out how am I going to do that, instead of just vigorously holding on to everything that I love because I'm in it till the bitter end. And I think that's the hardest thing that I've done this year. And it's probably one of the hardest things that I've done in my life, to actively make a choice to down tools in something I feel like I'm not even finished with, And I think that as a parent and as a mum, you want to set an example to your child that they could do anything. And me putting a pause on music was almost like a defeat, and like, oh my God, am I quitting? And is this a good example for my daughter? And then I realized that you've made some great music. You generate income from your music every single month. You have songs that you have friends that have kids that were born years after I made this music are listening to this music. They're listening to music. They listen to your music. You've done great. It's not a failure in pressing pause. It's not a failure to reflect. It's not a failure to realign yourself with what possibly could be an even better version of yourself somewhere down the line. And I feel like to be victorious, you have to be brave. And to be brave, you have to say no. And you have to decide for yourself what is going to be the no. Where is the no for you? And where is the yes for you? Where do you want to be? In 2026, how do you want to end the year? Everybody has these massive things about, oh, it's a new year, new me. I'm going to be in the gym. I'm going to be doing this, blah, 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 blah. All the rest of it. There's so many things. Healthy eating. After this 25 minutes of pies that cram into my face, I'm not eating. I'm going to be on a diet. I'm going to do this, and I'm not drinking, and to do all these different things. But for me, I am really focused on how I want to end 2026. And if I focus on how I want to end 2026, then everything I do in the lead up over the entire year will get me to where I want to be. But if I start the year by saying, oh, it's a new year, it's a new me, then I feel like I set myself up already for a fail, because no change can be done overnight. So from December the 31st until January the 1st, there's nothing really that you can physically do that's going to make you change straight away. Change takes such a long period of time. It is something that needs work. There are parts of you that you need to explore, uncover, and really figure out how you tap into the version that you want to end the year with. And it's something that I just feel like it's just not an overnight job. And I think there's a lot of pressure on people to do the courses, do the workbooks, figure it all out, and then have the answer. It doesn't work like that. It's a process of continual development and continual questions and continual like just continual support of yourself and continual support of the person that you want to one day become, you know. And I think like when you're a mum, you're thinking of all of those things, but then also on top of that, you're thinking of all of those things for your child as well, because I want my daughter to be the best version of herself. How do I lock in? I'm gonna go. How do I lock in? How do I lock in so that I can encourage her to lock in? How do I do that? How do I lock in so that she can be the best version of herself? How do I encourage her and teach her that it's not overnight? It's going to take time. What are the steps? What's the version that we're looking at? And for me in 2026, I feel like my version is to be victorious. And how do I get to the state of being victorious? It's not going to happen by January. It's not going to happen by January the 1st. Absolutely not. But if I plan to end the year the way that I want to end the year, then everything in between now and December 2026 is going to count for something. And it's really exciting. It's very, very, very exciting. I think that when you get to your 40s, it can be a little bit... When you get to your 40s, you can almost get a bit scared because you're thinking, wow, man, this could be 40 more Christmases. This could be 40 more birthdays if I'm healthy enough, you know? But if you can use everything that you've learned over the last 20 years and you put that into practice and into overdrive in the right areas in the next 5 years, then you could accomplish so much and be in a place that not only nurtures you and your soul, but it affects your family, it affects your kids, it affects absolutely everybody. So that is exactly where I'm at. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has listened to the Trybe Talks podcast. I really enjoy listening to all of the parents' stories and everything that they've been through and they're going through and all the tips and tricks that they do whilst juggling life, the home, partners, children, careers, jobs, aspirations without losing their shit. So anyway, guys, like if you like the podcast, please share it with somebody that you think might want to hear it, subscribe and get involved, and we will be back with season 3 of Trybe Talks. Peace. Oh, Nyah, oh, Nyah, oh, Nyah.